Happy Saturday. Hope you're doing well out there and hope you're staying dry. It's kind of wet where we are at the moment. But anyway, today I want to talk to you a little bit. I had a couple of questions coming this week. I just want to jump on them today. I know I promised yesterday I'd get back on that little subject of play. But this is really important because walking is one of the things that most dog owners want to do. It's one of the reasons why they get a dog. They want a walking partner, jogging partner, running partner. So anytime I have questions come in which I feel there's some angst out there, like, Bryan, help me solve this problem, I'm going to jump right on it. Okay, so the question is this. Bryan, in day 2, you gave a video entitled Step Right, Pull Right. So we all remember way back then, 242 days ago, step right, pull right. Well, the question is, what if that doesn't work? What if I tried that? It fails me because my dog is so distracted in everything else but me. So, those are two really good questions, and they're also very, very common. Joshua and I were talking about this morning, and that's a question that we get hit up with all the time. Dogs are very distracted when they go on walks, and that can be something that's really creates a problem when you're going on your walk. So again, knowing me, the consummate scientist, I'm going to approach it like that to start with, and I always encourage you to do the same thing. So you have a problem with your dog. You have a problem with the dog. Okay, ask yourself 3 questions real quick. 1, what is the proximate cause? Okay, so that's the first question you need to ask yourself. And that means when I say proximate cause, you get to guess. What is your hypothesis here? Yeah, throw down a couple of guesses. Actually write them down. What do you think the cause is? And again, the viewer already has a proximate cause because the viewer wrote in, the dog is so distracted by everything else but me. All right, after proximate cause, ask yourself, how did this thing evolve? In other words, did it happen just today? Was it last week? Last month? Did it start off as a little thing and now it's grown into a big thing? Ask yourself that. How did it evolve? Because it can give us a starting point and also help us to determine what was the proximate cause. And then lastly, does this behavior possibly have what we call survival value? And that's critical because if it does, that means you can't really ignore this. You have to get right on it. Animals are going to learn anything and everything that it takes to survive on this planet just like you, and I will learn that faster. And I will have a deeper memory and a longer lasting memory regarding anything that has survival value attached to it. That means you just don't get to take your sweet time on it. Okay, so what can be going wrong here? I'm just going to go ahead and say distractions. So we have distractions out there with the dog. Of course you do. You go for a walk. My gosh, where are you walking your dog that there's no distractions? Other dogs have probably peed on that same walk. Gone potty out there. You have other dogs that just passed by recently. You could have animals like deer, raccoons going by that area. No matter where you go for a walk, there's been other living beings more than likely walking on that same path, sidewalk, street, trail, same as you. There are distractions out there, even if they just come in the form of a sense of smell, olfactory distractions. But that being said, if we think that could be the problem, the proximate cause, the dog is too distracted in you, well, does that have survival value? You darn right it does. Again, I said before, animals don't know we're going to feed them forever. They don't know that. I wish they knew that, but they don't know that. So because of that, they are always hunting. They're always, remember that latent memory that I talked about a long time ago, latent learning? Put that away, store that just in case I lose this biped here that keeps feeding me all the time. I've got to be able to take care of yours truly. A lot of learning going on, a lot of survival value to being aware of your surroundings. Who's been by here recently? Is that a possible threat? What have they been eating? Is that a possible food source? Yeah, predictive information allows me to have some control. So I can keep that up all day long. There's definite survival value, which means we have to get on it. So now, when it comes to distractions, a couple things you have to ask yourself as well. Okay, so you're using the command. I'm sure the command is probably something like heel or let's go. If you use this command, what you're trying to do is teach your dog to walk next to you. Pay some attention to you. Don't pull you. Don't go to this side and that side and back here and way up there. Kind of hang around near me. With any command, make sure, again, that you give the dog a signal. We're going to go on to semiotics here again. So I say heel for the very first time. I might as well just said to you, Scoobernog. The dog does not understand your signal. I do not have any sort of phylogenetic background or any sort of instinctive mechanisms that gave me at birth the English dictionary. I don't have a clue what heel means. So you say the word heel, that's a signal, and you're trying to get the dog to interpret it as take up a position next to me. And once you connect this line more than a few times, you will now start to have a referent. Why do I interpret the word heel as to take up a relative position next to you? Why? Why? Because I've already done it about 300 times. That's why. Okay, now here comes the issue. You've been walking your dog, for example, teaching your dog to heel in a cul-de-sac with a bunch of houses around it. Good idea. Not a lot of distractions in there unless you got dogs running out of those houses, but for the most part, you either picked a park or your backyard or a cul-de-sac because you need to keep these distractions to a minimum when you're first teaching. At least till you get through this part here. You've got the signal, I interpret it correctly, and now I have a referent. But now what you also have is you have a referent back to the signal only to that cul-de-sac and only to those distractions, only those smells that are unique to this environment. Now you start to take your dog somewhere else. Oh, well, here we go. So again, my eraser's not working so good. I'm going to do my best to get some of that off of there. So I'm just going to draw a dotted line. Now that dotted line denotes what we call conceptual distance. Okay, I've got a foggy idea what heel means. I've got an idea what it means. But does it mean the same thing when we're out here in the woods? Does it mean the same thing when we're on a city sidewalk? Am I supposed to take up a relative position to you when people are approaching us? When a deer is crossing in front of the path? Boy, you got a good itch there, don't you? Man, give it a good scratch. Take care of it. Yeah, what does it mean? Until the dog has been made to heel under this distraction or this environment versus every other environment, you will have conceptual distance. I mean, I preach it all the time. Don't expect your dog to be reliable in the performance of any command unless you've exposed the dog to all the conditions in which it will have to reliably respond. So that means once I've done that, I now have a solid line. I have my complete learning triangle there, semiotics. Now, another thing that goes with this, semiotics only carries so much weight. In semiotics, you want to move the behavior till it finally becomes fixed. So in other words, I say heel under, I don't care what the conditions are. A stroll along the beach, a stroll by a dog park, downtown. I don't care where it is. When I say heel, my dog doesn't even have to think of it because it's parked over here in procedural memory, and that means my dog just takes up a relative position next to my body and remains there until something turns that signal off. In the process of doing that, you may have to increase the signal. Okay, so here's what happens here, case in point. All right, so I've been healing with you perfectly in the cul-de-sac. Minor corrections along the way, just kind of adjustments, fine-tuning. But then I get out here and you smell a raccoon. Or you see a dog run by a stray dog. Whatever. And suddenly I pull and I go away. And because I have conceptual distance, I now prioritize the raccoon and the other dog. They take first and second position, you take third. And the only way to get back to first place, where the dog pays attention to you and not the raccoon and not the other dog to such a degree that they violate the rules of heel, the only way to get back is only one of two ways. Either leave the area and go back to where the dog now has a solid triangle, or be ready to increase the signal. And that means make your signal stand out. Hey, me, I'm way back here on the back burner, but you need to pay attention to me. Give your dog a reason to do so. And that will even come in two forms. There can be a correction. Excuse me, you're not allowed to pull me even when there's raccoons, even when there's other dogs. And by the way, just so you know, out here, I have the best treats you've ever tasted in your entire life. So again, balance your scale a little bit. But right here, I've been hanging on to a very itchy dog. This is Bee. Bee's a Weimaraner. Isn't she beautiful? Oh, wow, she is a beautiful, beautiful dog. I remember when my fur was dark like that. Now it's a little bit gray. But let me kind of show you what I'm talking about here. So if I start to move with Bee, and I give her the command to heel, if she starts to pull me, remember in day 2, heel. So she starts to pull, step right, pull right. And why did we do that? Because the dog has a horizontal body. Its power runs from the tip of the nose to the tip of this little stubby tail. This way, that way, this way, that way. Works perfect in her world for chasing prey, catching prey, slowing prey down. But if I step right, pull right, and it fails me, then I need to raise the signal. How can I raise the signal? Again, I'm going to walk in your direction, and when she starts to leave me, watch what I'm going to do. On a step right, pull right technique, most of the action is occurring about 90 degrees from the center of the dog's chest. About 90 degrees. Well, I'm going to open up that angle a little bit further to about 110 to about 120 degrees. So more of an angle going back towards the dog. Remember, we do not want to violate anything about 150 to 180, because now if we pull back on the dog, we now go with her power instead of going against her power. Going right is an east-west axis. It works against the dog's power. Pulling, applying pressure on a north-south works with their power. But sometimes 90 degrees doesn't get it done. Come out here to about 110 degrees, it gets it done. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to walk in your direction, and let's see what happens. So we're moving along. Boom, right there. Look what happened there. So now all of a sudden, all I did was several things in one moment. First of all, I stopped, planted my feet, got a little lower here. And what happened is Bee was paying attention to Joshua filming and forgot about dear old Bryan. So no different than what I just drew on the board. The raccoon, the stray dog. Your dog leaves you. That takes over. There has to be a reason for those to never take over. There has to be a reason. Yes, I may want to go see them. I may want to go investigate that, but I won't go and do that because of two reasons. One, I don't want to forget about Bryan, because when I do, there's cause and effect. I come to the end of this line and boom, he's back over there. And then when I go back to him and take up that relative position, man, that's when I get the great treat. So let's do it again. Let's put it all in the same sequence. I walk the dog. I'm going to head back towards Joshua. At some point, she leaves me. Oh, now she doesn't want to leave me. There she goes, right there, 110 degrees. Of course, I would say the word heel again. And when the dog catches up, right there by my leg, that's when we get that fantastic treat. All right, one last time to see what we get out of this one. Ready, heel. Move along. Now look at me. Now I get to walk with one finger. Now all of a sudden I turn, and guess who paid attention to me? Guess who sees that I turned? And the only thing that I did, the only thing, was I increased the signal. Instead of 90 degrees, 110 degrees. Your attitude should be at that moment. You see the dog leaving you. It should be, nice knowing you. Nice knowing you. Turn and go the other way. And when the dog hits the end of that line, that little 4-foot line, 6-foot line, whatever it is that you're using, then your dog's own power will work against it. It caused what happened to it. You didn't. I just braced my feet, hang on, and allow the dog's own mass, its own weight, to achieve that correction. It's just by doing that, it makes more sense to the animal. It also gives them more control because later they can avoid that. And now the walk can be an enjoyable walk. So again, if the dog forgets, I just point my feet, I do a quick U-turn. Now we can go about our journey here. And when the dog takes up a great position, bingo, there's that treat right there by that leg. Just moving around. Be relaxed. Be relaxed. Let the animal know, hey, I'm in control. How about you? You in control? But be ready. If step right, pull right doesn't get it done, then be ready to plant those feet. And there we go. Have the dog immediately turn back towards you, take a couple steps, and then continue on your walk. So that, just by adjusting the angle of the attack from your leash, working against the animal, not with it. Man, this is kind of like years ago when I would do a lot of Krav Maga or a lot of Aikido. It was the same thing. You learn how to use the opponent's mass against them, their movement, their momentum against them. I'm hardly doing anything. I do this, you go flying by. Same thing with dog training. It makes more sense to them. We're not yelling. We're not going, no, stop it, you're killing me. No, we simply just plant our feet. Hey, there you go. And when the dog turns around, tap that leg, show them exactly where they're supposed to be, and do make sure you have a delicious treat ready to go. If they take treats, if not, well done. Just give a little scratch on that head, or just tell the dog you're doing fantastic. So there you go, guys. And in short, again, always ask the 3 questions. What is approximate cause? You do get to guess. How did it evolve? When did it evolve? Did it get more intense? Has it just seemed to be more frequent? Is there survival value? Anything that's related to food, anything that's related to social interactions is going to have survival value. And then because of that, we got to get to work in a real hurry because this thing can set in really deep, and next thing you know, 6 months passes by and we have a real problem. It's going to be really difficult to teach this dog to walk with us. After all, why would I? Why? Why do I need to walk next to you? Why can't I just go out there? I'm good. I've done my own self-assessment. I can handle myself against a raccoon and a stray dog. Why do I need to be with you? There has to be a reason why. So push through this. Remember semiotics. You're not allowed to keep expanding the environment and expanding the distractions until the dog has a solid line between all 3 components. The strongest relationship out of this whole triangle is the signal and the referent. The signal and the referent. Without the referent, it's game over. Once you have this in one environment, you now start to push it into another environment, including different distractions. If you do that and it still fails, adjust your angle of attack on the leash. Guarantee it'll work. It's worked for me for 4 decades. It'll work for you. All right, guys, that's it. A little bit of a long answer here for that question, but I want to make sure that you got it. Practice it. If you think you're doing it right or you think you're not doing it right, drop a video. I love a video. I love when people send me videos and go, Bryan, check this out. Am I doing this right? And a lot of times I'll go, thumbs up. Sometimes I'll go, let's make a little adjustment here. And if you do that, I promise you, man, I love taking my dogs for a walk. But sometimes with some dogs, that's the worst outing I've ever had. And I don't want you to have that. You need to get outside. Go for a walk. Do it right. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit more about play. I got a couple more things I want to talk to you about play that are really important, again, especially for those of you who have young dogs, little puppies. Start right in right. It's always been my philosophy, will always be. So tune in tomorrow. See you then. Did good, B-Dog. You did good.